I'm Joe Springer. I wanted to explicitly introduce myself. I'm the editor of the Wall Street Exclusive. I've had a lot of success analyzing stocks, and so I started the Wall Street Exclusive to help people learn what I know. I had 6 stocks in a row double that I wrote in-depth reports about in a short period of time. 6 in a row double, pretty good. For a time, tipranks.com ranked me the #1 analyst in the world out of thousands, so that was pretty cool. And I'm still hanging around the top 5%, tipranks.com. I also got an Outstanding Performance Award on Seeking Alpha for some work I did there. I had my Aristocrat newsletter, formerly the Multibag newsletter, formerly the Daily Double newsletter. That whole thing, whatever you call it the whole time, that's beating the S&P 500, the stocks that I'm picking there. And we're not flitting in and out of stocks, just identifying stocks we really like. I'm a certified technical trainer that loves to teach about the stock market, and so I started the Wall Street Exclusive to do just that, and that's what I'm doing here, and I wanted to explicitly introduce myself to you. Okay, I have 3 pieces of information for you today. The first is Orexigen Therapeutics. I think it's a screaming buy. The second is the stock market. For your long-term money, I think the stock market is a screaming buy. What I want to say there is, for your long-term money, don't have cash. Okay, and then the third is Hydrogenics. There's a stock I've written about in the past. They just had their first profitable quarter. It looks like a really great time, really exciting stock. So we'll talk about that one. Okay, so #1 is Orexigen, we think is a buy. Orexigen is a pharmaceutical company, Orexigen Therapeutics. They have a drug called Contrave. Contrave is a weight loss drug for obese people. It was approved in it was approved in September by the FDA. And the Japanese drug maker Takeda is marketing it in the United States. It's been making significant market share gains. It's really doing well in the market, and so that's doing great. This drug and some others like it are there heart concerns. So the FDA approved it, and there was an ongoing heart safety study that was still ongoing. It was a large study, more than 4,000 people in each arm. That study showed surprising heart safety benefits at the interim analysis. The entire study wasn't over, but it's a large study, and at an interim point they took a look, and at that interim analysis in the Contrave group, there were 35 people that had major adverse cardiovascular events. And in the placebo group, there was 59. Well, this drug was supposed to be possibly bad for cardiovascular, and there was 35 people in the Contrave group and 59 people in the placebo group having major adverse cardiovascular events. And more than that, 5 people in the Contrave group died, 19 people in the placebo group died, and it looks like these are benefits not just because, heart benefits, not just because people are losing weight. In the 8K that Orexigen filed, they said, quote, "The observed effects on cardiovascular outcomes were unexpected and appear to be unrelated to weight change." So it looks like a heart benefit unrelated to weight change. End quote, a little bit back there. There's potential negative, so the potential negative turns out to be a potential positive, and they get 7 more years on their patents. They have a patent that goes out to 2034 now because of that, and that's how people found out about this. They put that interim safety data in their patent. Okay, and then there's also Europe. So Contrave is being sold here currently in the United States, and it just had really good safety data. There's also Europe. Contrave goes by Mysimba there. It received a positive opinion from the European Medicines Agency's Committee for Medicinal Products for Human Use in December. That's a mouthful. And their approval or their ruling is expected at any time. It was looking pretty good for approval. This safety data should push it over the finish line. Now, there was a lot of hubbub lately about this safety data. The data was released before the study concluded, which may have an effect on the integrity of the study going forward, but that's irrelevant because Orexigen has to start over with a different study anyway. The FDA decided that the design of the study was insufficient in the first place, so Orexigen will launch another study, another safety study that they say will conclude around 2022. That study will probably never conclude because the interim safety data was sufficient to rule out this drug being a major heart risk. So the new safety study may never conclude because putting a patient that needs to lose weight for health reasons into the trial to possibly get a placebo instead of the approved drug is not something doctors are likely to do. So so Orexigen will launch the study anyway to comply with the FDA, but it's not clear that study will ever conclude, and the drug is already approved. Contrave is already approved. Okay, Orexigen made the data public by filing for a patent. They went for the business protection, and the FDA made a statement that they disapproved in a general way, but the rules and the guidelines around such things are not exactly spelled out by the FDA very clearly. So while the FDA may tongue lash Orexigen some more, the prospect of, so it's like, well, this was such great news. Orexigen went up a bit and then it started to go down because the FDA started saying, hey, that wasn't nice. So the bear case here is that the FDA will pull the drug off the market because it's mad in the face of this great safety data. That's crazy. The FDA may be mad, but they're not going to pull off the drug they just approved because, after great safety data. So here's a quote from the FDA. Despite the serious concerns, quote, despite the serious concerns raised by Orexigen's dissemination of interim results, all of these activities occurred after the interim analysis was conducted. Thus, FDA approved Contrave because the interim analysis did exclude the pre-specified twofold increased risk of major adverse cardiovascular event, yielding an acceptable benefit risk assessment to support an approval with further characterization of cardiovascular risk after approval. Okay, so they said this, that data that it released, it was good enough to rule out it being very bad. Now, it's still not enough to rule out that it's to prove anything, but that's why they approved it. Okay, in addition, this should not be too surprising because the FDA already noted that the Contrave trials showed benefits in a number of secondary health measures, including triglycerides, HDL cholesterol, high sensitivity C-reactive protein, amongst other things. So a bunch of secondary health measures that Contrave is shown to help anyway, so this shouldn't be too surprising. Okay, so we think Contrave has double digits in the future. Contrave is looking much safer, maybe even more beneficial than previously thought. The potential negative turned out to be a potential positive, and it should bolster U.S. sales and push European approval across the finish line. Vivus and Arena have Casemia and Belvic. Those two have bad or at least questionable side effect and safety data. Contrave is sort of eating their lunch anyway, eating their market share with this safety data. Orexigen looks like a buy. We think Orexigen's in the 7s now in the Aristocrat portfolio at the Wall Street exclusive that you can sign up for 3 weeks for $3. We've got in under $7, so Orexigen's in the it's in the $7 now. We think it's going to the double digits soon enough. This could easily be a multi-bagger. They don't think there's any prayer the FDA is gonna come down on Contrave just because it's mad, even if it would like to, or even if some executives there would like to. Okay, so we think Orexigen is a screaming buy. Next, we're going to look at how much cash should you have in your stock portfolio, and then we'll take a look at Hydrogenics. They just reported their first profitable quarter.